Hello, greetings, welcome. Thanks for being here. So today we're gonna talk about, I'm gonna share some downloads from the Great Mother, from the planet, and some theories, and maybe even check into some other things. I have recently began redecoding the Bible. And I recently wrote down the alphabetical order of it and really wanted to kind of dive into that because recently someone brought up flat Earth and I had gone down that path already, and ultimately, because there was no way to know for sure, without being able to actually, go to the edge of the planet, I guess, to say, or to completely be able to know for a fact, even though I think it's pretty obvious. And I think it leads into the Great Mother, ultimately. So, firmament was brought up. And recently also, I've just had the energy to revisit decoding the Bible. We get the Sibyl Bible. So I'm going to talk about a few things. Where is the book? I think it's in Mama Zogbe's book, Mami Wata's. But I also think I've read it somewhere else where Kabbalah, Sibyl, and I think Quran, but I know that K and S and B were all similar, and X, let's see, so we have X for like S sounds, like you could use this as an example for the Zosha or Osa in South Africa, if I'm even doing the click right, but I know the beginning of that is like Zosha. It sounds like an S sound. And if you think about language in general, all of them have different meanings. I might have mentioned this in another video. For example, alphabet comes from Hebrew, alf and bet, okay? And in Hebrew, they're taught that it is also a symbol, and it also represents a vibration, and it also represents, so the symbol, letter, sound, alf, it has certain properties within the actual writing of it, which hold a vibration. And in from what I've learned, it can be given a gender and then also a number, okay? And so when we look at language and the technology of language, it's actually very vast. So when it comes to the Sibyl Bible and wordings as well, so Sibyl and or Sibylia and Kabbalah are related, and these are things that, like, when I first heard about the Kabbalah was through, because I grew up in the generation of Madonna, and Madonna was interested in the Kabbalah, and I was like, well, what is this information? And supposedly the information was hidden from women. So at the time, I didn't really, think about it too deeply, but I did kind of check it out, and basically it was supposedly forbidden information, okay? And that's another thing, like forbidden things. Forbidden. The way that in English where we use the word for or bid or forbidden can also mean foretold. So if you're going to pre-bid something, or pre-say something. That is also forbidden, right? Okay, so what I've learned about the recently with going by alphabetical order, and I'm just going to read the alphabetical order because I find it really interesting, and I think it speaks volumes as to how things can be told in a direction that is misleading. Okay, all over the place, so to speak. All right. So Acts. Okay. So Acts is talking about all of the magical things that said person, being, energy of Jesus or Eshu was doing. And it was one person. However, even in the stories of Acts, it's many people. It's many of the, I think, Sibyls. And Mama Zagbe talks about that in her book. Okay. So Acts and then Amos. So I started reading Amos. What? Okay. Acts, Amos, Chronicles 1, Chronicles 2, Colossians, Corinthians 1, Corinthians 2, Daniel, Deuteronomy. Ecclesiastes. Forgive me. Forgive. Okay. I'll get into that later. Ecclesiastes. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I need to practice that. Ephesians. Esther. Okay, Esther. It's actually a book in the Bible. Okay. Exodus. Ezekiel. Ezra. Galatians. Genesis, which could also be Gene of Isis. Habakkuk, which I find interesting, has 3 Ks in it. Haggai, Hebrews, Hosea, Isaiah, James, Jeremiah, Job. And Job looks like Job. Okay. Joel, John 1, John 2, John 3, Jonah, Joshua, Jude, Judges. Kings 1, Kings 2, Lamentations, Leviticus, Luke, Malachi, Mark, Matthew, Micah, Nahum, Nehemiah, Numbers, Obadiah, Peter 1, Peter 2, Philemon, Philippians, which also looks like Philippines, but I know how the Philippines were named after Prince Philip. Okay, but Philip comes from the Bible. Okay, Proverbs, Psalms, Revelations, Romans, Ruth, Samuel 1, Samuel 2, Song of Songs. Oh, I meant to look that up. The Thessalonians 1, Thessalonians 2, Timothy 1, Timothy 2, Titus. Okay, and then Zechariah and Zephaniah. Is that like Stephanie? Zephaniah? Stephanie? I don't know. Okay, so when it's read like that in alphabetical order, I almost feel like you can tell what's happening. And where Genesis would fall, which would be after Galatians. And so some of the things I noticed just in the alphabetical order. Judges, Job looks like Job. And then numbers. Numbers are in the Bible. What is that about? Okay. All right. Then, so if we go, this is my theory, that Acts were the stories of the Sibyls, the prophetesses, the ones who were deeply connected and understood the elements, what we were capable of, and how we could heal, and the many, 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 many ways. And also that healing is cyclical, but changes also. So it was understood that even with medicine, that maybe eventually it may not work for the same person or for everybody. And so healing was also a learning process and a growing process. Okay. And then Amos. And what's interesting about Amos is if it comes after Acts, most of that would be the patriarchal dialogue of what was perceived of these cultures, where they were communities and were considered wealthy and feasting and lackadaisical. And if you look also at how the Europeans and those from across the ocean described the indigenous people, their lives were very luxurious, so to speak, because they lived off the land and they were free, and they didn't have weapons and other than what nature could give them. So I almost think that this is a backwards story, because also if you look at the world today, or even the world back then, and you look at the book of Amos, what are you talking about? There's so many people that are mean to the poor and don't give back, and even claim that they are giving back but aren't giving back. And I mean, if you can't give back, I don't expect people to be all virtuous and all that stuff. Like, most people, we have trouble taking care of ourselves, let alone other groups of people. Here and still in that book of Amos, it's very, speaking out about how God is going to come and strike down those who are mistreating the poor and women. And it's like, but okay. And then let's see, where else did I get to? And then it goes into Daniel. So I think it's actually the progression of patriarchy from Acts all the way to Zephaniah. Is my theory, because I would think Revelation would also talk about how they would come, literally had by then completely wiped out the woman and the true stories of the beginnings, especially that Acts was predominantly women. And then it goes into Romans, and then Ruth, and yeah, that's just my theory, because I haven't read it in this order. So, but I'm going to try. This is going to take a while. Okay, so that's that part. I think I did mark some part about Amos in here. But I think I'd like to do some other videos where I'm actually, oh, that's right. So Kings 1 and Kings 2, and then Lamentations, because I think Lamentations is all about the end of the feminine divine. And yeah. O daughter of Edom, he will punish you and expose your wickedness. I think these words have been flipped around, because I think by this time, because it talks about like graves of bodies, how, I mean, it's just really brutal. And I think that that's what happened to the women. And then, you know, the modern day, what happened back then would be called the witch hunts. But I think that this has been perpetual. Okay. So, yeah, because after the kings came, there were no more queens. There were matriarchy, besides through, you know, some surviving cultures, Judaism, and the indigenous cultures. The female was pretty much completely wiped out. So, also when I talk about the Great Mother and like the female god, I'm going to share this. The ultimate perspective is that the Great Creator is actually non-binary. It is this creative energy, but obviously it can create into what we call a feminine form, or a woman, or a masculine form, a man. All right. Oh yeah, and I'll go back to the flat earth thing. Because I think basically we must look something like a womb, right? I mean, and wouldn't that match that part of the Bible of like dividing the waters, and it is unmovable? Like once a baby is created, it is unmovable. Yet it's growing and there's still movement coming on. And we may not remember, but I'm guessing it might have looked like the night sky. I don't know. You know, I don't remember that part. I could probably meditate and figure that out. Okay. That's kind of my ultimate theory. Like the way it's described, I watched one of Deborah's videos because I was watching her live the other day, and she talked about, she was just talking about some things, and recently somebody had brought up specifically the firmament quotes in the Bible, Sibyl, explaining Earth. And then also the concept that everything is a hologram, that everything is created, that we're, you know, that we are actually believing something that is not true. So some of the, now I'm jumping around, just talking about the Bible. I think I'm on track for the most part. Okay, so I'm going to share some downloads that I've gotten from the planet of recent that I've been intimidated to share, and even took me a little while to completely believe it. So in a lot of my videos, I talk about technology and even the technology of language. And as I was speaking about the Hebrew language, that's what I'm talking about, the technology of language, that it includes many vibrations, not just a letter or a word. Okay. And so through my studies and like listening to the messages that I've been getting from the planet, I started understanding that even writing has been a tool to further technology, because reading and writing eliminates oral stories and passing of certain rituals. And practice can also be changed by creating writing. And I thought about this because of the story of Thoth being the creator of writing, yet discovering that women actually were the first to start creating writing, and which would make sense in order to communicate, right? And writing in the beginning was symbols. We could see this everywhere with petroglyphs, right? They're symbols, literally an elephant or literally a bird, you know, like we can see, or literally a deer. We could see what it was, cattle. They would use symbols directly to show, draw things literally. And then as drawings turned into writing, something happens with the mind also, okay? So while I was thinking about that and kind of meditating about that, the message was, okay, 2 messages I got. The first is that Aztecs, these are both groups of people that have greatly advanced civilization and had great advanced civilizations. I think a little bit of the stories have been mistaught or just changed around so that we may not see certain things. So the Mayan calendar, okay, so Aztec and Mayan, somewhere, this was the message, somewhere back there, this is where we get the story of Atlantis. Now, I know that there are people out there that can actually bring some proof that these stories that have been related to a different part of the planet actually happen here. And what I had heard is that, so Aztec would be Azanazi technology. And then Maya means illusion. And so through certain practices, we're able to create kind of a time grid that only through this knowledge of this technology would it be understood. Because from what we've been told, because I don't know if somebody else might have already figured this out, but what we've been told is that the Mayan calendar is extremely difficult to figure out. And the theory is that we were given a timeline, the world would change as we know it. Well, the world as we know it is a predominantly patriarchal, controlled world. So what I heard from the planet, the Great Mother, is that the Mayan calendar was actually for those who understood this part, that we were kind of locked into a timeline grid under patriarchy, and that the end of patriarchy would start showing at the end of the Mayan calendar. So it was almost like a warning to what we've been told are like the darker energies out there that understood that this time right now is a rise in the feminine energy. This isn't about power and control. It's about voice and understanding that there is far more to us as what we call human beings, and to the knowledge that's being told to us by the powers that control us or govern us. Okay, so okay, so I'm pretty sure that's that part. That this is also where the stories of like blood sacrifice and specifically a virgin have been attributed to the Mayans and the Aztecs, when in truth these were only certain groups. This is what the planet said. I don't know if this is for sure, but these were only certain groups, and it was to start to perpetuate the quote-unquote blood magic of sacrifice, and to start the idea of women are expendable. They are the ones to be sacrificed to the god, and to begin even that narcissistic control of, you are doing something good, sacrificing yourself to the gods or to the god. Okay. And that what I'd heard a long time ago, and I've been hearing a lot, is that the feminine knowledge was manipulated against her. So this knowledge was known, but it was as I said before, the word would be forbidden. And it wasn't forbidden like you can't do it. It was forbidden like, if you do this, this is what will create, and this will cause great disharmony. And so, okay, so then confusion comes in. The other one is, let's see if there's something in that relates to, yeah, Maya is illusion. Maya means illusion. So, okay. And then before the Vatican was Ethiopia. So actually in Ethiopia was the first Catholic worship. And so you can also kind of see the tie-in from the Sibyl prophetesses, Ethiopia, and many names around the world and places have feminine names or are named after a Sibyl or prophetess. And I believe that this is how the knowledge actually was, you know, shared or quote unquote leaked out to the rest of the world. And that information ultimately did come from the Americas and the hidden history that is the Americas, and the knowledge here in the language, because they are finding that a lot of the Indian languages can be linked to Hebrew. There's very, very similar, and they have very similar traditions. And then you can see what's ultimately happened. And we think about words like pagan. Pagan means of the earth. There's also a tribe, what was called the Pagan. And we know just from our own American history here that a lot of rituals of the indigenous people were outlawed because they were considered evil. You know, these are like deep, deep, deep psychological manipulations that transpire into all kinds of unhealed traumas that people express through all different kinds of ways. And they know this. Okay, so, yeah, then the next part of that is healing these things. So, for myself, when it comes to creation energy, I believe, let me rephrase that. My theory is that the true Kundalini is dancing. Connecting to true Kundalini is through dancing. We can see this so far back. And this is another way also. So through dancing and the ritual like music and drumming, we know stories about people being, having energies of deities, ancestors enter into their bodies. So here is literally a description of how spirits can connect through sexual energy. There's a lot of sexual energy in dancing, but it doesn't have to be, you don't actually have to have sex to create the sexual energy of dance through dancing and the creative energy. So my guess is that was also stolen, because now dancing isn't something that is part of like the family. Now dancing is something you go out and do. And then when you go out and do it, you know, oftentimes you're drinking and it becomes, it's not even, I think dancing has become manipulated, because I think that's the actual true connection to the Kundalini of the planet and to the self and to others. And I think that that's why we used to do so much dancing, which would look, you know, like leisure to those who have been indoctrinated in working or being, you know, in a routine, so to speak. So that's one of my theories. And that that's oh, and then the gut. So the two snakes together are the Kundalini energy, and then also the health of the gut. And then the two together, I actually do think create quite a high vibration and connection to the elements. Yeah, being entered without sex. Okay, then another thing that came through. So I was thinking about, you know, men and women and great, you know, great creator, great mother. I say great mother because I just think I think that's what was chosen. And for us to see, you know, is you know, gender in a body that has a mind and can conceive spirit and nature at the same time. So when you think about, so this is what I heard yin and yang was taught to us backwards. Whew, I just got chills all over. This would be a dangerous, you know, this is just what I heard. And this is how it was explained to me. Because really, the masculine aspect is the one that is mysterious, secretive, actually has hidden intuitiveness that through our programming, because if you teach to hate the female or to hate the woman, then you are inadvertently denying that within the self. And so if the masculine is taught to never actually, not never, but is taught to suppress feelings, to see some of, you know, like witchy or magical things as being gay or foo-foo or evil, then this darkness can create disbalance, so to speak, because it's literally veiled darkness. It's the way we've been taught is that the dark side of yin and yang relates to the woman or the female. Interesting. Oh, maybe that's what was going on with the last one. Okay. Interesting. All right. So, when it comes to, okay, so the woman is depicted as like dark, mysterious, emotional. Well, I actually think that it is actually more attributed to the masculine than to the feminine. Because even with the major oppression that has happened to women on this planet, I think that women have stayed kind of open about their emotions and their mystery and their magical side in places where they could be. I think the masculine side is a bit more hidden, which might be why narcissism could be so easily imbued into the culture. Because that's ultimately what it is. Like, yes, narcissists are created because of survival, you know, necessity of survival. And I think that it is possible that by manipulating the teachings, these energies happen on their own. No one has to, no one's coming in and saying, this is what we're doing to the planet. This is what we're doing to humanity. Instead, you create a culture or society where these things are accepted, and it happens often, and it's repeated, and it becomes a belief. It becomes something we identify with, and we don't question. So, and I think that that's kind of what brings us to here. So, my guess is sharing with the energy of part of this video is to, and most importantly, so, not most importantly, but something she definitely wanted me to share is this part of patriarchy has even entered itself into, so the misteachings of religions and about deities or general God in general, if it's a single deity or if there's many. So from what I've understood from the Indian culture, where they teach about Kali Ma and the many deities, most of those stories have remained the same for quite a long time. In the story of like Shiva, Kali Ma, and then you'll see this across the board. So Kali Ma, Sekhmet, and either Oshun or Oya. I think it's Oya, actually. And we don't really have it in the major religions. However, with those deities and those religions, they are super uplifted, and then they're like turned into these, cutting off heads, drinking the blood of humans, mad women, or deities. And what I heard across the board is that this has been done on purpose, so that in every aspect of every spiritual practice, the woman is not to be looked at as God, or as capable of being like ultra benevolent. At some point she's going to lose her mind and kill things. And then the story I heard is that those were actually her inner demons, and she was able to conquer them, basically overcome her own inner demons. And then as, religions and life and people became more segregated, and then money could be made off of spirituality, these stories changed. Because now almost every religion gets a lot of money for rituals. And people learn things and they need to get paid. Also, the original teachings were for healing and helping the community, not so that we could cast spells on each other and spend money on clearing and cleaning things, or being indoctrinated, or being a member of. We're all a member of the great world, and I believe that ultimately, in the beginning communities, we didn't exclude, and we might have traded out of gratitude and appreciation, or for a need. I just don't think that it became quite as entertaining as it is now. And so, for example, recently with a friend of mine, and then also it came up when I was watching a video on YouTube, when somebody mentioned Shango, in the Orishas. And the same thing. A lot of the deities, the first time I had learned about Shango, he was not a womanizer. And he was a deity you could go to if you were in an abusive relationship or if you were struggling with another woman. He didn't like women fighting, and he doesn't like women fighting, and he does not like abuse to women. And so womanizer would mean that he was actually abusive, but that abuse was okay, but not beating a woman. I feel like, and then also that his wife fed him an ear because she was jealous about one of his other wives' cookings. Well, I heard that these stories have been manipulated on purpose across the board. Almost every religion, including Buddhism. Like, women are not to be uplifted. And so, what is the power that women have that they can't have any power in religion or work, and sometimes even in their homes? There must be some great power in that. Otherwise, all of this wouldn't be necessary. You know. Okay, so yeah. Yeah. Yin and yang taught backwards to darken the feminine. And then, yeah, Aztec technology, Mayans, illusions, okay. Oh, yeah, before the Vatican is, okay. I think I've talked about pretty much everything. So we're going to move into a bit more about healing, because here are all, here's some things I've talked about that I actually think have created certain dis-ease, uneasiness in our world and with each other, and some ways to help. So recently someone asked me a question, and yeah, I'll do my best to timeline this video so that if you don't want to hear about the Bible and stuff, you don't have to hear it. And if you want to just skip to the healing part or talk about Kundalini, blah, blah, blah. Anyhow, somebody mentioned that one of their relatives had gotten the jab, and what can we do to get the heavy metals out? So I did do 2 videos about removing heavy metals. And the fastest way, one of the fastest ways, is to do a hydrocolonic, where you can clean out your gut, your large intestine. And that literally means water going through your bum into your intestines. And so what happens is, yes, it's a way to eliminate things in your body. So it's a tiny, 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 tiny tube. So there's not your poops are bigger than this tube. Okay. So you're not the tube is probably just a tiny bit bigger than this quill. Okay. Just a tiny bit bigger than this. Okay. And water is flowing in. Just a little tiny bit of water, kind of like a slow stream that you might do to, say, water your plants, right? Going in, and another one going out at the very tip. And what it does is it fills up your large intestine with water. And then what your large intestine does is oh, I have stuff in here. My job is to use the muscles that are in here and push it out. And so all kinds of things come out because you're actually rinsing it out. For me, and that was a 10-day process, and actually altogether, it's about a 2-week process, because you're eating soft foods beforehand, and then you're eating soft foods afterwards. I think that is a healthy, affordable way to quickly help your body heal. And as I've shared before, things are still continuing to improve. I'm just amazed. I'm so grateful I did it, and I'm doing it again. I meant to do it this month, but I'm actually going to take some time off to make sure I have the time to do it. So that would be the fastest way. And so if you're somewhere, and I'm saying this from when I was doing the cleanse, I literally heard they are injecting people with heavy metals. This is what the planet told me. This is not facts, right? This is what the planet told me. They are injecting heavy metals into our bodies. They have been putting heavy metals into our bodies. It's in our food. It's in our sky. It's in our hairspray, hair products. Our skin absorbs. It's been a constant, literally like bombardment of how can we make people sick so that we can make money off of their illnesses. And I mean, you know, there's the holistic, you know, there's like acupuncture, massage, exercising, you know, water, fasting. There's all these very affordable ways of healing. And then we have surgery, and then we have the pharmaceutical industries, like what people are putting in their body. All of those pills have heavy metals in them. Our regular vitamins that we get, our supplements, most of them have some type of heavy metal in them. Like, how discouraging is that? And so, what you know, I heard is encourage people to clean out their guts. Because, I mean, my arm, emotionally, I would say it connects because your arms relate to holding on to something. So it could be that I was holding on to not putting myself first. And the more and more I'm taking care of myself, the more and more my body is actually going into alignment is a possibility. Either way, it would work, right? Because you're taking care of yourself. But my arms, my feet, just continuously getting better. It's my hands, my fingernails. I was having some weird problems with my fingernails. That's almost completely healed. As I've talked about before, my skin. I have put some weight back on, but I don't care. I exercise more and all that stuff. So, and then there are places all around this country that offer hydrocolonic cleanses. And what I would suggest is that you actually read about it, you know, be conscious about what you're doing before you go in to rinse out, how it's probably going to feel. Ask them, like, can I find out how much water is going in me? Can I find out what's actually coming out of my body? And you know, before you do that, because this isn't like an enema. This is like a whole process. And then for those of you that are not interested in any kind of hydrocolonic, you would do it from your mouth down. There are juice cleanses. Definitely, I've suggested calcium bentonite has been known to remove heavy metals. I've heard so does baking soda. I am not a doctor. These are things I've heard. This is things I've researched and looked up. And also, you know, you check out books. I know that certain essential oils can help remove heavy metals. This is a great book if you can find it and buy it or download it on your phone, I guess. It's called A Comprehensive and Up-to-Date. And this was written in, I think, 2000 something. Let's see. What? This is 1933. See? Okay, no. This is copywritten. cataloging and publication data. Is that his birthday? Anyways, this book was published in 1997. And this is the second edition. Yeah, it says Prescription for Nutritional Healing. Yeah, 1933. Prescription for Nutritional Healing, a practical A to Z reference to drug-free remedies using vitamins, mineral herbs, and food supplements. See? Okay, so in this book it has things from nutrition, diet, and wellness, vitamins, minerals, water, amino acids, antioxidants, enzymes, natural food supplements, herbs, healing from abscesses, bee stings, boils, chickenpox, chlamydia, chronic fatigue syndrome, bedwetting, bed stones, frigidity, fungal infection, heart attack, heartburn, narcolepsy, nickel toxicity. Let's go there. Let's go there. Let's check it out. Because nickel is a heavy metal. Nickel toxicity. Apple pectin. So apple can remove bile from the body. Okay. Also, apple pectin binds toxic metals and removes them from the body. Bam! Alright, so garlic acts as a detoxifier and in removing harmful metals. Kelp, so you know, like seaweed, supplies minerals and iodine and aids in removing toxic metals. I'm glad we came here because oh my gosh, you guys, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Small amounts of nickel are useful in certain bodily functions. For example, minute amounts of nickel are important in DNA and RNA stabilization. Nickel also helps to activate certain important enzymes such as trypsin and agonase. A nickel deficiency may affect iron and zinc metabolism. Too much nickel can be toxic, however. It is known that the presence of excess amounts of nickel are important in DNA and RNA stabilizations. I'm just saying, like, what the heck? Okay, so it is known that the presence of excess amounts of nickel can cause dermatitis, skin rash and inflammation, respiratory illness. I'm just finding this right now, you guys. I haven't looked this up before. Not in this book. Can interfere with Krebs cycle, a series of enzymatic reactions necessary for cellular energy production. Significant levels of nickel may also contribute to heart attack or myocardial infarction. Infarction, sorry. Many foods naturally contain some amount of nickel. These include buckwheat, legumes, oats, cabbage. Nickel can be present in hydrated fats and oils, refined and processed foods, stainless steel cookware, phosphorate, fertilizers, and tobacco smoke. That's me. Using cooking utensils containing nickel may also add unnecessarily to your dietary intake of nickel. You know what? I was just talking about, oh, this is silver. That's okay. I was just talking about wearing jewelry. So copper and silver and gold, but no nickel. My goodness. Okay. What else will work for you? I'm sorry, you guys. I'm not sorry. Look at that. A little magic there. How about that? So, vitamin A, antioxidants, plus natural beta carotene. So, this is what I was talking about, like So I've heard that people go straight on carrot juice diets and cure all kinds of things. Okay. So that's why, because the vitamin A. Oh, my kid got once in. I'm almost done. Vitamin C helps to remove metals from the body and strengthens immunity. How did I not know this? This is so cool. Vitamin E, a powerful free radical scavenger that also improves circulation. L-cytosine and L-methionine helps to detoxify the body, including the liver. I think this is what I just was talking about. This is one of my friends. They were just figuring this, We're just figuring this out. Including the liver of harmful metals. See also amino acids in part 1, which you guys wouldn't be able to. And then selenium, a powerful free radical destroyer. Wow, y'all. All right, I think that's it for today. So there's that part. We just added that part. We start bringing in those things, apple pectin, and the vitamins, and plenty of water. Plenty of water, and then yeah, calcium bentonite. And we could talk about some of that other stuff, but for now, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about in today's video. I will be doing more videos. I want to do a little bit more about the 9-day Earth and / moon calendar. That's today. We're in October. Because I think this all ties into just part of the manipulation. I don't know. Is astrology real? If the Earth is possibly a dome? I don't know. It seems like it. It feels like it. But is that because everybody believes it or because it's actually true? Who knows? Is it both? Probably. Okay. So today is... Okay. Today is Saturn Day. On the... and it's a moon day. So today is a good day for opposite or undoing crosses. Color is ivory. And the moon enters Taurus. The moon entered Taurus this morning. What other colors? Brown and green, I'm hearing. Lots of water. I'm hearing a lot of water. So this could be a great mother energy day because Saturn is a mother energy. And supposedly so is the moon. And then we're also in Libra. So also a good time to find just some time like meditate, take a bath if you have that opportunity. And then prepare for tomorrow, which would be Uranus Day. It's also the full moon. And it would be a day to actually rest and not do ritual magic. It'd be a day of rest tomorrow. And then we're looking at like all kinds of things happening on the planet right now, which makes sense because of also these things. But is it all tied in? Is it really true? Or is it all just to manipulate us? This is what we do know. We can help ourselves heal. We can dance, we can sing, and we can share information. That's what we can do for now. So, may you find some time to dance today. Even if it's just, well, even if it's in the car. And may you have support in your life. May you be safe. May you be healthy. And may you live a life of ease. part of a meta prayer. You can look it up, but I think it's a good one for today and for even for myself. So enjoy the rest of your day, evening, whenever you may watch this. Thank you for subscribing, sharing, and for your work here and doing what you do. All right, till next time.